Hello and welcome to the Helping Friendly podcast. The podcast, as you will know it for the next couple of weeks, it's just Brian and Megan right now. RJ is on his way. RJ is coming from a beatdown of the Chicago Cubs by
Aw.
the Philadelphia Phillies, following a weekend where we lost a series to the Detroit Tigers. So both of RJ's teams have really taken it to me in the last the last week. We're still doing okay. We're still hanging in there. We just really need some pitching help. It's an incredible how much pitching helps you in baseball these days. So we are waiting on RJ's arrival. He is navigating the mean streets of Philadelphia, trying to get home with kids in tow. My goodness, we know how that goes, right?
Absolutely. I'm just preventing myself from singing "The Streets of Philadelphia," so I'm not gonna do that, but we're wishing him well, and he's gonna be here soon, I'm sure.
Really feel like Streets of Philadelphia would be an amazing Goose cover. The
Totally.
synthesizers, kind of mellow
Come
vibe
on.
of it. Waxahachie did a great version of it last year.
Rick's
Yeah, it's just an
voice?
amazing. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We've got new merch apparently on the way. We're going to talk about other merch that's on the way, but "Let Meg Sing" is going to be our next T-shirt. Um,
Oh god,
so
that's like my dream in life, people asking me to sing. This is, like, all I've ever wanted in my life. So, ever since I was, like, 3 years old, I've just wanted people to hear me sing, so thank you, Jason. You're my new favorite person.
we'll do that in an upcoming episode of HF Pod. Trying to interpret potentially a week summer tour show with Meg singing her thoughts. So I said merch. We're just kind of you're getting 10 minutes here of daytime radio stall hang here from us before RJ comes in. So Meg, tell us a little bit about the new merchandise that we have here via HF Pod. What are we celebrating? What do we got for the people?
Well, I wanna tell everybody how this started because it's kind of a cool origin story for this merch. I was the first night of Mondegreen walking back on that high after that amazing show, and I was going back to where my car is parked because, sorry, I did not camp. I stayed at a hotel, and I was walking across this kind of overpass that we had to go to get to the parking lot, and I ran into Levi, who runs Type 2 Designs, and he was so cool, and he gave me a shirt, and he's a huge fan of the pod, and we had such a great conversation, and he was just such an awesome guy, and he said, "I would love to make HF Pod merch someday." And we've kept in touch, and he and was talking to me about it, and I talked to you guys about it, and we decided, wouldn't it be cool to do something for one of our series? So we are commemorating our top 25 tours of all time series with a limited edition HF Pod t-shirt. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out on our socials and also on Levi's website. It's type2designs.com. And first of all, that's such a cool name, right?
Yeah,
For
yeah, I
a
like that.
brand. Like, that's cool. And he's selling the shirts now. What we're going to do is everybody's going to order as many as they want, and then we're going to run them, and Levi's going to send them out. So this is like a one-time only deal, and the shirts are killer. They say HF Pod Top 25 Tours on the front, and on the back they have a list of all of the top 25 tours in order and a big HF Pod fish, and it's just a super cool shirt. And I'm excited to see some people wearing it on tour. It's going to ship out before most of the tour. So that's exciting. And we really, really appreciate your support. This is a great way to support the pod. And it's the first of many. We're going to have some more HF Pod merch coming, like some classic tees and just some other things. So please check it out. Support our local designers and people making merch and also the pod.
It's an incredible shirt. It looks like a classic 90s Fish tour shirt. It's got a
Yes.
great design, great old school design. Plus, it reminds fans everywhere that fall 1995 is the best tour Fish has ever played. It's written in ink. It's on a T-shirt. It's going to fade with time. There's nothing that anyone can do about it. Fall 97, it's there. It's hanging. It's up at near the top, but fall 95 is where it's at, and I'm so stoked that it gets the representation it deserves, because I feel like it just doesn't in the larger community. We did right by Fish here.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy about that, particularly on Blue Sky, about crossing out the top and moving the arrow up for fall 97. So they also wanted could we run a different version of the shirt with fall 97 at the top? But It's not how it goes, guys. You know, these series, when we do them, they are what they are. And it's a moment in time. Fall 95 deserves its spot.
It's true. I mean, I would love if the 2011 NBA Finals had the Chicago Bulls on it. If the champion had the Chicago Bulls on it, that would be really cool for me. Awesome season, Derrick
Not a
Rose.
fair comp, though, I have to say, Brian. It's not a fair comp. Losing a game and comparing a tour, we can't really compare those. It's different.
Well, I mean, we lost more than a game. We lost the Eastern Conference Finals 4-1 to the Miami Heat, who then lost to the Dallas Mavericks. I was very pleased with the Dallas Mavericks winning that title, but I feel like we get into this participatory ribbon space. Like, I want it my way. We decided, the fans and us
That's
decided.
true.
We worked together here. Remind us what that website is. We got people who are asking.
I'm actually going to put it in the notes right now. It's type-2-designs.com.
There it
And
is.
then you can find,
type-2-designs.com.
yep, and you can find our shirt there. So that's a great way to support us. And I'm so into merch. I can't wait to wear them with some biker shorts this summer. I'm going to be rocking that shirt a lot.
I almost bought merch at Goose this weekend. I'm a little bit filled with a little bit of regret that I didn't buy this one shirt, because I then saw it on a guy when I was walking out and I was like, damn, it really does look cool. So I think I'm gonna have to buy it retroactively. But I was talking to our friend Ryan Storm about how our shirt drawers at our houses are just becoming tour shirts, and at a
Same.
certain point in time, that's all I'm going to have. That's all I've got from a
Same.
t-shirt standpoint.
It's
So
like tank tops and tour shirts, and
that's up.
Goose merch is always good. So I fully
They
support
do a
that.
really
I
nice
love Goose merch. Yeah.
They do a nice job. All right, so we've got merch on the way. We've got band shirts only. We've got like a planting his flag here, Ev dude.
Yeah.
Share your thoughts in the comments, and we'll continue to throw them up here. I'm interested in the firmness of that opinion. Only, not tour shirts, not like a side project design, not even a podcast shirt. I don't know. I'm curious. He's rocking a War on Drugs shirt as we speak. Good man.
That's pretty cool.
So we've got a lot coming up here in the HF Pod Library Card, Blockbuster Card, Cinematic Universe, I think we're going to start calling it. So just to give you all a heads up here as we get prepared for a Phish Summer Tour, today we are doing our Summer 2025 venue draft. More on that in a minute. We're figuring out if we're going to take next week off or if we're going to post a interview that we did. I don't have the exact information right here, but keep your eyes on our feeds if there's an upcoming episode. But if not, we are going to be back the week of the 23rd to begin our summer 2025 recaps, our tour recaps. And so we are going to do essentially the same thing we've been doing the last, I would say, 2 years, which is focus a little bit more on runs. So we're going to kick it off with a Manchester run the week of the 23rd. We'll do a Pittsburgh and Austin run the following week. We'll do a Boulder run the following week, and so on and so forth as this tour goes along. We tend to find that looking at the tour via a run versus an individual show kind of gives us a little bit more perspective, a little bit more themes to talk about, can kind of assess where we're at as the tour moves along. So I'm really excited to get back into this. I love the tour recap aspect. It removes the historical listening and do I need to put a new perspective on this thing that I've heard so many times and now I need to talk about in a contextual manner. And it's just like right away, boom, boom, boom. We've got shows coming in. Are they going to be good? I don't know. Are we going to have great jams? I don't know. It's the unknown. We have no idea. There's no album to promote this year. It's just Phish on tour playing a bunch of new markets. So I'm pretty excited about it, but that will be kicking off. What is that? 2 weeks from now? Yeah, basically 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks. Yeah, exactly. I'm so excited. I love summer tour. There's just nothing like it. I was listening to a show from 2 summers ago, 2023, and I was just remembering how fun that summer was with all these new songs, and there's just such a vibe to summer tour, and Phish has been playing so well, and I'm really excited about the summer.
So I want to put a pin in that because I have a question regarding that. I want to just tell listeners really quickly about what else we have coming up because we have
Mhm.
just planned out behind the scenes the remaining library card episodes that we are going to do in 2025. Meg, do you want to tell the audience a little bit about what they can anticipate over the next couple of months and where we're posting our schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me pull it up here. We're going to be doing something pretty cool. And we're going to be actually kind of going a little bit in between novels and also some more short stories and some movies too, because we started Blockbuster Card and it's so
Yes.
fun. And it's just, I know Brian, it's always been a dream of his to talk about movies on a podcast. And it has just totally changed how I watch movies, which has been so much fun and allowing me an excuse to kind of dive deep into film again, something that I did a lot when I was in college. So this has been really exciting. And next, I think the next week, like mid June, we're going to be doing 3 episodes, one a week of Blockbuster Card. RJ's on vacation. So Brian and I are going to take this time. We don't want to talk about novels without RJ. So we're going to jump into some movies and we're going to be looking at some really cool movies, like a movie that came out this year or last year, a movie that came out in the 40s, and a movie that came out in the 60s, I believe. So some really diverse movies. And we've got those posted on our socials. So you can find those there. And then we're going to be reading in July Crossroads by Jonathan Franzen, which is just one of our favorite books on the pod and an author that we talk about a lot. And then we're going to go into a really cool few weeks of comparing some Hemingway stories to some other contemporary authors, which will be really interesting. And we're going to do some crossover episodes. We're going to be looking at some Hemingway and thinking about some movies. We're going to be looking at really cool stuff we're going to be doing throughout the rest of the year too, looking at some George Sanders short stories, some Raymond Carver short stories, and a bunch of other novels too. So we are going to post all of that stuff on our library card website on osirispod.com. So you should definitely look there, and I'll always post them on the socials. But we're going to pretty soon get a full list of the year's books that we're going to be talking about out to you. So if you're someone that's been reading along, you'll have more time to kind of look at those and read along with us.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because some of us read at a fairly slow pace. And so having 6 months to prepare for some of these books is really, really essential. And so we're really thinking about our listeners out there who want the complete read, but aren't able to read a book in a weekend. You know, some of us can, some of us cannot. And we're here for those who cannot. Um, we have a really awesome episode that we are I can't wait to announce it, but our Halloween episode is going to be amazing. We're going to do a Christmas episode for both Library Card and Blockbuster Card. Just a lot of stuff coming up. I'm really stoked about it. Have a few Blockbuster Card movies still to select, but it's going to be a ton of fun. That show, that whole series of books and movies. It's becoming a thing of its own, and I'm very, very excited about it. All right. So before we dive into the draft today, I have a question for you because I've been thinking about this as we go into summer tour, and I'd love to hear audience listener share your thoughts based on this. But I've been thinking a little bit about this summer tour, and I've been thinking about where Phish is at over the last couple of years. And I think it's very hard to argue right now that there have been any down periods in the last 2.5 years. I would say going back to New Year's Eve 2022, it's been pretty consistent from this band. Um, Maybe a few down moments, but like overall, every single tour has contained pretty much an all-timer jam, if not multiple. All-timer shows, great set listing, a lot of surprises in terms of how the band is approaching the structures of their shows. Um, Debates to be had about new sonic exploration, but I think we would all agree that whatever they're doing sonically within jams has been really interesting and has pushed the band in a big way. And I say all of this in detail because it's pretty unprecedented that we have a 2.5 year period in time where there isn't really an off tour or a segment of a tour that is kind of nobody's really going to re-listen to that, revisit that. There's not a lot of summer 19 stuff here. There's not a lot of summer 2016 stuff here. There's just been a lot of, you know, heavy intentional um, risky, and just ultimately successful playing from the band. Would you agree with that looking back the last 2.5 years?
Absolutely. I mean, I think we've talked about this a little bit on the pod, but I think consistency is the latest form of their evolution. They've just become so good at doing what they do. And I think you're right that the set listing has a big part of it, and also the consistent inspiration from the band. They just seem really motivated, and they've been playing so much, playing in their side projects. They're still really active, especially for Trey and Mike. I think that makes a big difference. And they just seem really lit up and into what they're doing. And I think it's interesting thinking about if they're making new sounds or not. For me, that hasn't been an issue. Like, I've really loved the improv that we've been hearing the last few years, and whether or not it's something they've never done before, I think it's all sounded really, really sophisticated and intentional.
I agree. We're on the same page here. And this is what brings me to my question, because I'm looking at our upcoming tour routing, and we've got kicking things off in Manchester, nice home for Phish. They've been there 3-night run. The 3-night run to open Great Woods last year was just like kind of what I'm expecting for this. Like very, very solid. Phish is comfortable by the Sunday night show. Like we know, okay, they're in a good spot. But then we have some weird routing that happens. We go to Pittsburgh, and we have one night in Pittsburgh, nothing on that Wednesday, and then they pick up and they play Friday, Saturday in Austin, Texas, in a new venue, indoors, no Sunday night show that weekend. Kind of a market that they haven't visited all that often. We then come up to Colorado for this new approach. They're going to be playing in a very big stadium that I don't expect to sell out. We'll have the 4th of July,
Wow.
but then we're done on Saturday night again. We don't play again until the 9th in Columbus. Then we go down to Charleston. We again don't have a Wednesday night show that week. We do get 3 shows that weekend. And then it kind of starts to get a bit normalized, but it's still a little bit strange. We go to the Man for Tuesday, Wednesday. Perfect. That's going to be awesome. Everybody loves going to the Man, middle of summer tour. We go to the United Center, kind of a weird venue. Tickets are still for sale. That those shows in 2023 were not the greatest. We go to Forest Hills. We all know there's a ton of controversy around Forest Hills, but it's small. It should be interesting. And then we end at SPAC. The reason I go through all of this and I bring all this up is it feels like a bit of a strange summer tour routing. And I'm curious if you think that this is going to impact the band in any way, or do you expect they're just at such a high, consistent level at this point in time that it really doesn't matter where and when they play?
That's an interesting question because I do think that Fish does the best in places that they're really comfortable playing in. So that'll be interesting. But I also know that Fish loves a challenge. So I am curious to see if this routing kind of switches things up for them. Like, I'm pumped they're going to Texas. Like, they just never play there, and how fun would it be if they just went and just, like, burnt the place to the ground? Like, that would be so exciting, and it's a good spot too because it's, like, a little bit into tour. They've played short 4 shows before that, so I think they've kind of, like, warmed up a bit by then, and I think Colorado is gonna be super hot. I think that their love for Dick's is so extreme and well known that I think they're gonna wanna play really great shows at Folsom Field too. But I mean, I think they're gonna be able to step up to the challenge of it, but I do feel like it is a little interesting. I've seen some not great shows at some of these venues before, but there's also playing some legendary places, like going through the SPAC shows for this draft today. Like, wow, they've played some killer shows at SPAC. And Chicago, they've played some really great, incredible shows in Chicago too. So it's exciting. And Forest Hills, there's controversy, but people are pumped about this. Like, outdoor summer Fish in New York, we get it very rarely, and it's really fun.
Extremely rare. Extremely rare. I I, I I just throw this all out there as just kind of thought bubble. We don't know what's going to happen. I think you're right. They're up for a challenge. They're playing incredibly well. It is an extremely different summer tour. There's no like familiar stretch of venues, even when they get into like the Philly and the SPAC. Those are in slightly different parts of the tour, and they go to like a new
Mhm.
venue after that. So I'm just pointing it out. Maybe the band is going to completely surprise us and we're not going to have anything to worry about. But, if we start to get some bummer shows out the gates, like I'm going to be highlighting this. I'm going to be pointing this out. I just want to warn everyone. Okay.
Well, we're going to put a pin in this conversation so we remember this, but hopefully we won't need to.
That brings us perfectly to the meat of this episode, because anyone watching can see that someone has shown up who has that just perfect glow of afternoon winning baseball. RJB, you guys took Ben Brown on today. We had to leave him in until the 6th inning because we just needed to give our bullpen a rest. You guys really took it to him. His ERA is probably back up to 9 at this point in time. How you feeling, man?
Well, thank you for that intro. Depends how you look at it. It was a 75-minute drive home, which is it's about six miles from my house. So that part was
Oh
hard,
my
but
God.
it was a great game. Bohm is awesome. He's coming back finally, picking up for some of the guys that are in a slump. I think we're on another 1-game winning streak, which we've been on twice now in the past 20 games. So I'm psyched. Like, being on a 1-game winning streak is better than a 9-game losing streak. So it was
Good perspective. That's a great perspective.
Thank you. Thanks, Brian.
I'm glad that we could help you out of that. 4-5 road trip is finished. We're going back home. We're playing the Pirates. Let's go. All right. Banter is over. I hope that our friend in, I think, Austin has reached the office and is probably cursing us at this point in time. At least we warned you at the top that this was all going to be banter section. We're going to jump into the draft. So to kick this off, we are choosing 10 categories today. I just went through the entire summer tour routing, and that is what we are doing. Everyone is picking a show from one of the regions, cities, states. We've got it all figured out here. Everyone is going to pick one show from each. There are no wild cards in this draft because there are 10 rounds, and a wild card would be insane. We are going to do this the exact same way that we've always done this, in snake draft format, which, Meg, just so you're aware, works 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
No, I
1,
got
2,
it now.
3.
It was RJ that didn't know last time. Yeah.
You got it.
I told you.
Yeah, it was definitely me.
I have a unique sense of calm about this draft today, guys.
Yeah, it was definitely me that didn't know snake draft. Yeah, that's good. Good.
No, last time you were confused about who was going when. At some point, you were like saying things like, "I haven't gone in so long. I feel like I don't even remember when I went last." Things like that, and then we had.
I think it's
a snake draft.
I think it's fine if you want to kind of like play your shtick about the drafts, but you can't just gaslight me directly on the air and say that I did stuff that never happened. It's not fair. It's very. It goes. It's not the way. It's not helpful.
I'm gonna get the tapes from that. I'm gonna get the tapes.
Get the tapes. Get the tapes. Do your research.
So we are gonna do. I'm trying to pull this up right now. Oh my goodness! Here we go. We are gonna do our dice roll here to make sure that we get everyone in order. Have anything else to say? We have gone into this draft.
I have something else to say. First of all, Jason, Team Meg again. But I do want to say that if people want to follow along, you can go onto osirispod.com/draft and you can see the insane number of shows that we had to choose from for this draft. I just want people to see it and recognize that it is a lot. It's a lot.
Insane. Yeah. Very insane. All right. So you know what else is insane? Meg, you won the last draft and probably, I don't know, the last like 50.
Not insane at all.
You need to pick a number between 1 and 6.
2.
RJ.
6.
Okay. I am going to go with 3. Closest without going over. Rolling first. I'm going to go first. This hasn't been, I don't like going first. All right. I'm going to go first. RJ's going second. Megan has the turn, which probably helps Megan in some way that I just can't foresee. So, all right. I get to go first. This is fun. RJ, do you want to share the draft screen so everyone can see this?
This sounds so good.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. That's the least you can do for taking my team out. All right. I am going first here. So 10 categories. Got to pick one. Where do I want to go? What do I want to do, Meg? What do you think?
Well, I know where I would go first, like right away. I know exactly what my first move was. I'm not telling you.
I got two must-haves first, and I'm a little bit nervous. I'm gonna lose one of them. Actually, three must-haves first. This is a little stressful now that I'm thinking about it. All right, so here's the thing with this draft is
Look at this draft. Just look at this.
all these venues are out of market. So they're not like normal markets for Phish. So it's a little bit challenging here to figure out where to go. I think I'm just going to go with a big one. One that I think I need to have to set myself apart. I'm going to go to the state of Texas. I'm going to take 5794, otherwise known as the Bomb Factory show, where Tweezer became Tweezer. So first show up, Texas 5794. Forbin 77 with some deep shade. My goodness, man. Well done. They need to buy you a seltzer water at set break for that. That's good. Plenty of whipping posts, though. I don't think there's any. No, there's no whipping posts here. There's none really available. They didn't play whipping posts when they went to these venues. My goodness, but well done. What, you guys just like decided now that none of you like the Bomb Factory Tweezer? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
My God.
Totally.
Every single one of you
Factory.
just decided, I don't care about the Bomb Factory anymore. Oh my God. All right. It's even a live Phish release. You all love 7/15/98 because of the live Phish release. Jesus. All right. RJ is going second. Let's just keep this moving along so that we can get it over with losing.
Okay. You guys are familiar with the idea of the blind knock in cards?
No.
Okay, so there's a game called Scat, which I play with my family, my wife's family. So the idea is when you're dealt your cards, you go through and you want to get as close to 31 as possible. But sometimes before you even look at your cards, you just knock, and that means that you only go around once, and you're just putting everything on the line without knowing what cards you have. So that's my approach to this draft. I just want everybody to know.
Yeah, sure.
I'm blind knocking it, but I'm going to go with for my first pick. I'm going to go with 11/17/97 from the state of Colorado.
Yeah.
That would
have been my first pick.
That would have been your first one. That's got a nice ghost and a really good Johnny B. Good. We're going chalk here, guys. Well done. Live Phish releases. It's amazing. Tell us your thoughts on that show, RJ.
Well, I would like to, but I'd rather point you to an interview that I did with Trey about this show and listening to him talk about surfing the waves of Page's organ and synths on that Ghost Jam.
Trey, does that mean if you've done a podcast with Trey or a whole series of podcasts with Trey, does that give you qualifications to talk about this band on a podcast?
I don't know.
Or to make up a series of Mount Rushmore episodes? Is that your qualifications?
That's all I got.
I don't know what the qualifications are to choose Mount Rushmore shows on a podcast, but if I feel like doing a series with Trey might be one of them, but I don't know. I guess somebody who knows better can tell us.
I want to say one thing, which is that Jordan, who you guys know, who we met in Michigan last year, who's a fan of the pod, he said yesterday that we are 1 year away from our pod mitzvah.
Yeah,
so I think that is what gives us the authority.
Next year we'll be a man.
Yep.
We'll be.
I mean, look, I went on Always Almost There over the weekend, and I didn't realize a podcast could be so passive aggressive until I came here and realized that we can take it to the next level. Well done, guys. 11/17/97 is a killer show.
Killer show.
Tweezer opener. That's awesome. The Ghost, just like wow. Unbelievable stuff.
Rare show where the first set is far and away better than the second set. Kind of a rare situation. It's
a strange second set opening disease that's not that fun to listen to. It's all about that Johnny B. Good in the second set. Speaking of passive aggressive, you should go and read the jam chart notes on that Yem. I'll leave you guys to do that. All right, Meg, you've got the third and fourth pick here. Where are you going to go? I can only imagine.
Okay, well, my first pick, I'm going to Brian Brinkman's hometown. I'm going to Chicago. I am going to the UIC Pavilion. I'm going to a show that is a perfect example of why 1994 Phish rocks. It's hungry, it's tight, it's virtuosic, it's weird, virtuosic. How do you say that word?
Virtuosic.
Virtuosic. I said it right. It's silly, but it's also deadly serious. This is the band that I fell in love with. It has an insane Bowie, Mind Left Body Jam Bowie, Tweezer Hose, Yem for the Ages. Trey has a famous quote about crying during this divided sky. I'm going to June 18th, 1994.
It's a great call. That's a great call.
Thank you.
I'm surprised you didn't pick 11/25/94, but that is a great call.
I like my show better.
I'm into it. That's a great
Yeah,
call, Meg.
thanks.
That's a good call.
Thanks. Yeah.
What
Do you have
what do
any
you
thoughts
got?
about that, RJ? I know
Well,
you're just winging this draft. You haven't really put any thought into this draft at all, RJ. But
Great.
what do you think about
Great.
my choice?
I think it's
Okay.
awesome. I think there are two epic USC shows from the same year, and I think there's a good argument that this one is the top.
We already got it. Game over, guys.
Wow.
Meg picks 6/18/94.
Wow, Meg picks one show and the game's over. Wow.
Unbelievable.
Phenomenal.
I love it. I love
That's
it.
like
I love it.
that'd be like, that's pretty cool. I like that. It's kind of like when they play
Cool.
like you play baseball and they it's 1-0 at the end of the first inning and it's like, oh. We'll
It's kind of
pack it
like
up.
when Yannick Sinner decided to win the first two sets of the French Open. It was over. There was no way Alcaraz could come back. Wait, what happened? But Alcaraz doesn't have to play politics. We got to play politics out there, RJ. We just got to hype up our dudes out there. Let them know how much we love them. So this is a great show. This is one of those like 94. It was like they couldn't play a great first set to save their lives. Like every first set is just like, well, no, but like it's all like it's like 9-10 songs. They're all always like greatest hit songs. They're all played incredibly well. Like it's nothing crazy, but like it's just you put it on and it's just excellent driving Phish. And the second set, anywhere you put a Bowie, Tweezer, and Yem in the same set, like come on, what's going on here? Unless it's the first time they've ever jammed out Tweezer and it drove one of Phish's biggest fans off a cliff because he just lost his mind and his stopwatch broke. It was crazy stuff. All right, so Meg, you got another pick here.
Okay. I've been a little bit unsure of where to go because there's a couple, like two particularly weak categories in this draft. I think there's two categories. Well, yeah, I think there's two categories that are really weak and two more that are fairly weak. But I think I want to get one of those. I think what I want to get is the strongest show in one of the weakest categories, which I've, gone back and forth on if you should go for the big shows first or do this. But I think there's enough in the other categories to be okay. And I already didn't get my number one choices in two other categories. So
that's the strategy that killed me in the Phish 2024 draft. It just I pulled that with Albany and it just crushed me. So I just
same. I did that too, but I'm not completely going for that. But I do think that some of these other categories are pretty strong. So I feel pretty okay about that. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go to, I guess it's not my hometown, but it's where I live now, where I've lived for over 20 years. I'm going to go to New York City. Now, this is non-MSG, just so everybody's listening. So this has no Madison Square Garden shows in it. So these are just New York City shows that are not at Madison Square Garden. So you can imagine there's not that many of them, and a lot of them are pretty old. But I'm going to actually pick a show that I was at. I had just moved back from London, and I was living here, or I was just moved back, and this was like one of the first things I did when I got back was I went to the show at Randall's Island on July 13th, 2014, and I was completely blown away. I didn't expect, I had seen like a show a summer every year while I was away when I'd come back, but nothing like this. You have like this classic split open and melt in the first set to close the first set. But the jam that opens the second set, it's 28 minutes. It has a name. It's the Randall's Island Chalk Dust. Everybody knows this jam, but also followed by this light, the tweezer, the waiting jam, huge show. I will never forget being in the bus that takes you off the island, getting back to Manhattan to come back to home in Brooklyn, and just thinking like, I wasn't expecting to see a show that great. So that's my choice.
Yeah, that's the right pick in that division. Well done, Meg.
Thanks.
Well done. Who would have thought
made
that 3.0 would be where you pick from in New York City?
I know. Well, no MSG. That's what you're left with.
That made that summer, happen, I think.
Yes.
That show.
Yeah.
That show is incredible.
Yeah, there's a juxtaposition between that show and the Merriweather Post Tweezer Fest that I love that you have this one hyper jammy, stretched out, cerebral show, and this other just absolutely insane mindfuck of a hilarious fun show. And you have those 2 weeks apart. It's just a really cool thing. Good pick, Meg. Nice job.
Thanks.
What did they say? The woman prepares for the draft. Is that what they said here? Yeah.
I don't know, but I do. Even
the
though
woman prepares for drafts. PT
I mean,
well
Brian tried to get me not to prepare, but that's just not my style.
I think you came in very relaxed and we're having a good time. I'm still stoked on having the Bomb Factory. RJ, you've got another show here. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to the city where I went to college, the city where so many things happened in the past, and so many things are happening in the present, including an Ohio State football national championship, which I'm still extremely happy about, and maybe many more in the future. One would hope. So I'm going to 6/22/94 from the vet. This is Live Phish 10. Obviously, everyone knows this show. There's not really much you have to say about the show, except it's like the other, segue show of that kind of 2-month period, and it has a flow and banter and kind of a story that I think is kind of unparalleled especially as it relates to Trey and the crowd and what was happening. The OJ show is up there too, but this. If you listen to, again, an episode of Undermine where we talked about the show with Scott Gray, who's a friend of ours, he talked about, he was with a guy who was like 6'7", whose name is Randall. That's right, Jason. And he was wearing a basketball jersey, and the whole banter about when Trey is talking about like you can be, basically he's like talking about Hakeem Olajuwon, and he's referring to this like person. He was pointing at this guy the entire time, and
That's so amazing.
How
cool
and
is
Scott
that?
was with him. They were in a PhD program together. It's a wild story, but also this, the simple Midnight Rider jam, Catapult, simple Iculus, and then the simple and Mike's Groove. The whole thing is just, it's an outrageous show, and I think it's I think from this category, that's the one.
I think if I
from
saw
my home
like
state.
10 minutes of this second set, I'd be like in tears. Like Catapult, Iculus, like I've been chasing those songs for so long. And this whole, just looking at the set list, you're like, what is happening? It's amazing. Mike's Groove for the ages, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this along with the Bomb Factory, with Milwaukee, and then with what is the 7/13/94? Where's that show from?
Big Birch.
My God,
Yeah.
Big Birch, and then even like parts of the Sugar Bush set, second set to close out that tour. The way that the band was just experimenting with their set lists, and just there was so much freedom and so much fun. Like those are just, oh my God, just amazing shows. Great pick, great pick.
Yeah.
All right. Glad that we are getting city bias out of the way here. I've got 2 picks coming up. I just double checked that I'm making the right pick here. Meg talked a little bit about categories that are a little weak. This is kind of what got me thinking a little bit about the reality of the upcoming summer tour. These are just a lot of these are a lot of places where if they play a
Yeah.
really, really great show, it's going to put a stamp down that, oh my God, that's maybe the best show from blank. And one area that you would anticipate there being a higher ratio of great shows just because of where it's geographically located, but it doesn't have as many great historical shows because they stopped going there so long ago, is the great state of New Hampshire.
Hmm.
It was once our second primary. I don't know exactly where it falls now, but we're a ways away from all of that. The Granite State, they tell us, it is a state where if you drive across it into Vermont, it takes like 25 minutes. And we are going to go to Durham, New Hampshire, the field house of the University of New Hampshire. And we're going to go with 5893. This is a show that I'm just gonna do a quick set list corner here. You intro with Chalk Dust Gula Rift Mound. Cool. Great start. But then we get Stash Kung Stash. We get the return of Satin Doll. We get a really cool Reba. The second set, we get Bowie, Jessica, Bowie, Have Mercy, Bowie. Then we get a nice little break in Horse Silent. We get It's Ice, and then we get a Squirming Coil that's type 2. Oh my God. And then we end the set with Mike's Crossroads, Mike's Hydrogen, Weekapog, and then an Amazing Grace jam. And then before the encore, we get a Walk This Way tease while Trey is thanking the crew and telling everyone about how we're going to be back on the road here in a couple of months. And everyone knows in their head when they listen in hindsight, you're talking about August 93, bro. Like, you're not just going back on tour. You're talking about August 93. There's just so much converging at this point in time. I love this show. It's one of my favorite 93 shows, one of my favorite old school Phish shows. So got to go with 5893. Who is gonna in the chat tell me that there were better shows in New Hampshire? I just want to hear it.
Nobody. But
No way. No, that's by far the best show in that category. Like by far.
I'll just continue to tell you that in that same series where Scott Gray talked about 6/22/94, Brad Sands talked about this show and about what the end of this tour meant to the band. And that's really, I guess, all these shows that we're talking about have some kind of Undermine episode. Some with Trey, some with other people. Some people think the ones with Trey are the best and the most important, and those shows are the most important, but some people don't. So you got to just make your own decision there. But to hear Brad Sands talk about the growth of Phish in spring '93, I thought was pretty cool.
It's so special. That Amazing Grace jam to end is emotional. It's awesome.
I am here for any Brad Sands interviews. He tends to go off on tangents, and they're always fascinating because he has the kind of memory that Phish fans have about Phish and about what would probably be boring backstage stuff to any other band. But like, he shares the logistics of how a Phish show happened in such a fascinating way. I'd highly recommend anyone listen to any of our episodes with him. Perhaps those episodes give us qualifications to talk about these again in other contexts. Who knows? Interesting question here from our bud Ev dude. Up until that point, probably the best show ever played. I'm not going to say he's wrong. Like, it's a huge show. New Hampshire, they went around the country twice and then they came back and they're about to go back on tour and do summer 93. God, just an amazing stuff. Jason, 6/20/2025 was a better New Hampshire show. I'm here for that. I'm definitely here for that. I would be very into it. All right. I got another pick here. I got one more and I got to figure out what I'm going to do. I've got two thoughts about what I'm going to do next. Why don't you guys banter for a second so that I can figure out my next pick? How does that sound?
I love bantering.
Thank you.
Love bantering.
Some might even say you're qualified to do it.
Yeah, some might not. Megan, what's the most stacked category in terms of quality shows?
I think that's a little bit giving away strategy, but I have to say, I think
okay.
I will. I think it's fine because I think we're further enough into the draft that it might not really matter. But I definitely think that Ohio is super stacked.
Hmm.
I think Ohio just has some really, really killer shows. And
Yeah.
I also think, there's another category that I think is really stacked too, but I'm not giving out any more strategy to you.
Do you think I mean, I don't want to, sorry, I was going to say something, but it would maybe be taken as offensive, so I won't say it.
I know you don't need strategy, RJ. It's just
No, I was just going to say, do you think I give a shit about your strategy? But see, that would have been so rude if I said that. So that's why I didn't say it.
I know you don't care about it. It's okay.
I think I'm ready. I'm ready to pick. On that note,
Okay.
I know what I want. All right. So there's one other category that I found a little
See,
bit
we
weak,
did it,
and
Brian. We bantered.
you guys did a great job bantering. All right, I got my pick. I'm gonna just get out of the way of picking a area that I think is a little bit weak, because you guys are gonna now pick 4 shows between my next pick, and I think I'm gonna be okay if I get my third best in any of these other categories, or if I can come back with my second best. So I want to clean this up, because I think this is a big show, and I think that this category isn't very good. I'm going to go to South Carolina. I'm just going primary states here. That's what I'm doing. And I'm going with 10/29, 1994. Someone said in the chat that my new strategy is just picking up Baller 1.0 shows, and maybe it is. Who knows? I don't know. You guys are gonna have to wait and see. We'll see if the votes tell the truth here. Who knows? But this show rules. You've got a bunch of sandwiches throughout. You've got crazy segue moments, simple into Runaway Jim, Melt into Buffalo Bill, into Makasupa, into Rift, Disease into Man Who Stepped Into Yesterday, Antelope into Sleeping Monkey, back into Antelope. You've got a Sparks in there. You've got a You Enjoy Myself midway through the second set. You've got a gorgeous Harry Hood in the encore. You got a huge bust out of Buffalo Bill being played for the first time since November 21st, 1992, 226 shows. This is just one of those, is it the best show on the fall tour? No. Is it one of the strongest shows that the band played during a period where they played exclusively strong shows? Yes, 100%. So I'm pretty pleased with this. You all know how I feel about 1994 Phish after the top 25 tours. I got to give a hat tip to my new love.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the top, I think, a great show in the top 3 tour of all time. And almost this entire show is on the Jam chart. I agree with this pick, Brian.
Yeah.
I'm kind of pissed that you got it, actually.
Good.
It's fine, but
Good.
kind of mad.
Nice. I'm not mad yet. I'm having a great time. You guys have picked some great shows.
You kidding me?
We're having good conversations. Who's
so
mad right
I'm
now?
so relaxed. I'm not at all stressed this time. I'm just I'm not even sweating.
Not even. All right, we got to move because someone's got to coach a baseball game here in about 90 minutes. We go from professional baseball to my Little League baseball. We stream the games over Game Changer in case anyone wants to follow here. But RJ, before then, you have another pick.
All right. Let's see. I guess
Totally.
I don't know if I should continue my trend of picking absolutely fucking amazing shows or not. But it seems like maybe given the task at hand, I will. So I will go and just choose another show from what probably should have been the #1 tour of all time. That's up for debate. It has been now memorialized on a T-shirt, so there's no going back at this point. But
I know.
But if we could, we would, as they say. I'm going straight to 12/2/97.
God damn it!
Nice.
Oh, that is a
that.
great pick, RJ. That's a great
that
pick.
response.
I was really hoping that would hang out there. That's just that shows that is that's a great pick. Way to put Philadelphia on the map.
It's like a fucking curveball hanging over the plate, Brian. Is just...
I know. It's right there. There's no way.
Right there.
That's a Schwarbomb waiting to happen.
Waiting to happen. I mean, those. Well, both those shows are amazing. There's a lot of amazing shows from Philly, but I think this one of that run, I mean, that it's pretty amazing that it finally got released as the Spectrum 97 box set. But I go back and forth between these two shows. I don't know about you guys, but the Mike Simple, I mean, the Dogface Boy, Yamar, Weekapog, that whole segment, it's awesome. But this is when they were just hitting the peak of this tour, where it was just like nothing. It's like a band absolutely on fire. It's incredible to listen to still.
Yeah.
That's an amazing pick. That's an amazing pick. That is my maybe favorite hour of Phish that has ever been played. I can't get enough of it. When Pennsylvania was called in 2020, I was on the road driving to Chicago, and I immediately queued up 12/2/97 set 2 and just blasted it while I was driving across Nebraska. Felt very good at the time. It's an awesome pick, man. I can't argue with it.
Fully agree.
I'm
Thank
angry.
you.
Yeah.
I'm not disappointed. I'm angry. I'm sad, you know.
It's the opposite of good parenting. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Exactly.
The
Exactly. It's the opposite.
That's a great pick. And I'm starting to wonder here if our buds in the audience are just buttering us up and making us think that we're doing the right thing. That guy RJ knows what he's doing.
No, they're making me sweat. They're starting to make me a little nervous. I gotta tell you.
Huge new Brian strategy going after the vet vote. I think that they are. I think they're trying to mess with us. You guys can't get through me. I'm
you and Seth Moulton going after the vet vote. Sorry, deep cut there, guys.
That is a my God. Well done. RJ draft perfect game watch. RJ can't talk to us anymore. So that's what happens. RJ just has to go and sit in the corner and just make his picks silently.
Seriously.
I'm just glad I got that in your head. All right, that's a good one. That is a mean but very good pick at this hour of the draft. Meg, it's your turn. How are you going to potentially rattle us?
I don't know. Do I have 2 picks?
You have 2 picks. You're on the turn. That's how a snake draft works.
Okay, great.
Are you qualified to draft if you don't know what a snake draft is? I just want to ask, make sure I understand.
Let me just explain to you. I know what it is. I just forget where I am in it, and if it still works that way. Okay, so maybe that means
everybody needs a drink. We just talked about the rules of a snake draft.
Yeah, exactly. I am getting a little nervous now. This is what happens when you're third, because you go through this huge section when you don't really get to pick, and it makes you very nervous. But luckily, I have some really great shows, and I think I know what I'm going to do. Okay, so I think I'm going to go to just an amazing show. I am going to go to Western Pennsylvania, and I'm going to go to a show that opens with Trenchtown Rock. It's got a tight Wolfman's Jam that segues into a massive bust out with Time Loves a Hero, over 1,000 show bust out, rocking Fee into Maze. But I'm drafting this because of the over 30 minute Monster Runaway Gym in set 2. I'm going to August 11th, 98 from Star Lake.
Only show I've ever been to where I could not find any drugs in the parking lot.
Jesus, 98. That's rough.
Everyone was heading to Lemon Wheel. Everyone skipped, not everyone, but whoever was trying to buy some shitty weed, and they all went to Lemon Wheel.
That's right. Yeah.
Sad. But a great show.
Yeah, it's a great show. It's funny you couldn't find drugs and they opened up with Bob Marley. That's
trust me. Although we were still on a little bit of a high from coming back from Virginia Beach. That was
sure. That was a show.
Yeah,
carried us through.
I'm thankful that's the pick that you got in Western PA. It's a good show, but I'm glad that's how it's off the board now.
It's a great show, by the way.
You're gonna be so pissed.
Super great show.
The good thing is I got 3 picks here.
And you got 3.
I got 3. If you take mine, I know what you're doing at this point in time, but you may not know what's up my sleeve here. I'm just glad that this show was off the board. Because it makes my decisions a little bit easier in Western Pennsylvania. But nice pick, Meg. That Runaway Gym, my God.
Thanks. It's kind of good.
It's really interesting because there's no peak to the jam. It's just all space and sound and then groove. And I love it so much. I can't get enough of it. All right. We're trying to get under each other's skin. That means that we're into what, like round 3 or 4 of the draft
Yeah.
here. I feel
So I have
feel
another
good.
pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is your first of 2 picks this turn because you are on the turn. That's how a snake draft works.
Okay, so it's a hilarious joke. You can just keep making it. Fine. Okay, I'm trying to decide. Yeah, I'm just gonna go because I want this one and I don't care. I am gonna go to Ohio, RJ's home state. I'm gonna go
right.
to a show.
Home of
that
the
has
national
just-
champion Ohio State Buckeyes. Sorry to
That's
interrupt.
right, home of
Just
the
wanted to remind
Buckeyes.
people.
I'm going to the home of the Buckeyes, everybody. This show has flow for days. The first set is just surprise after the next, bust outs. We've got a swept away and a steep inside its ice. First jammed out tube. Timber opens set to like a boss fall 97. We've got a Wolfman's brother that has this like butter segue into a huge bust out, followed by an excellent Reba, Gaudi pass him to close, day in the life encore. This is a super fun show that showcases cow funk at the absolute peak of its powers. I'm going to the Nutter Center to 12,797.
Okay.
It's my favorite Phish experience of all time. So
Brian,
I
you
don't
don't
have
like
anything
that
else to
show?
say.
Thanks, RJ. Good show or good pick? Just okay?
I thought it was great. I mean, I'm proud and sad, and I'm feeling a lot of emotions all at once. I'll never forget that night. I mean, the first set is I think that and 11-17-97 to me personally are the 2 best first sets of all time. Come at me if you want. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa.
dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We're going for it today.
Hey, you guys
What
keep
are we
talking
here
about
for?
12,797.
Hey, I'm about to go on
on
vacation. I'm leaving it all on the table today.
all of it. You didn't
I
even
love
pick the
that.
show, but you're leaving it all on the table.
Yeah.
I think that this show contains, what would we say, like 28 minutes of awesomeness, and the rest is okay. That second set doesn't even have a jam in it. It's kind of crazy that is
The whole
a Fall
first set
97 show.
is amazing.
Yeah, this is an
I really
awesome
love
show.
the
I don't know why I'm
ACDC bag
defending
and
Meg's
the
pick.
Psycho Killer.
Not as good as
I
622.94.
love. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than. Hey, you want to start that jam up again? The one out of tube? Yeah.
No,
I mean,
Like,
come
There's
on.
nothing better than that. There's nothing
Amazing.
better than that. Don't get me wrong. But I think that this is an interesting pick because I think this is one of those shows that you get on tape early on and you're like, oh my God, this is the greatest shit ever. And then you hear like all the shows around it in Fall 97. You're like, I
wow.
gotta go back to the tube all the time. But anything else? I don't really listen to anything else.
This is like
But
Brian
hey, I'm
not
glad you got it.
understanding why people like 7:15:98 and being like, oh, 12:797. People don't really like that show. Wow, I'm surprised you picked that, Mag. This is a
No, people
fucking
love
great show.
12/7/97. It's definitely a fan favorite show. 7/15/98. I still don't understand why that show has been officially released, and like 19 other shows on that tour have not. I will never get that, but I'm willing to hear your arguments.
I just love that we're still litigating this from the last draft.
Well, this is what happens with the drafts. We litigate it forever.
It's true.
Thank
It's
you
true.
for your picks this round, Meg. Now I feel
Oh my God.
ready to roll.
That is painful to hear. And now
Fantastic.
I'm mad at you.
This is fantastic. I love this.
It's like saying Godfather's not okay. Movie The Godfather's a masterpiece.
Thank
if I
you.
said this about 12/2/97, you could come at me with this.
If
but I don't
RJ
think
picked that, he'd be like, oh my God, dude, that was such a good pick. That was such a good pick, RJ.
Ev dude speaks.
Who? Brian Wood?
Yes.
No, I would tell him the
No,
truth. I would tell him the
no.
honest truth.
Brian's not. He doesn't hold back on me. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Come on.
Date 97 is mid for the tour, but it's arguably the most fan favorite show ever. Never doubt Megan. She knows her strategy. She knows her strategy. Well done,
The
Ev
show
dude.
is killer.
This
I don't
is-
care what anyone says. We know that Brian doesn't love Fall 97 appropriately. It's fine.
Ev dude should be our David Halberstam and just like write about what happens during the competition.
Wow, that would be
Um,
interesting.
All right, RJ, you've got to pick now.
Fuck.
And you're gonna have to make
God,
something
I don't
really,
even know where
really
I'm at.
bad here so that I can critique you.
Yeah, well, it's gonna happen eventually. But I probably will continue to just pick fucking amazing shows because I've done it so far, and I don't intend to stop.
Meg's
anytime
RJ
soon.
impersonation is spot on.
She was impersonating Brian, weren't you?
I don't know. One of us.
I can
Some
impersonate
dude.
both of you. It's
Okay.
fine.
Okay, good. Unbelievable. 12 years of hard work, and that's the way I get treated in this community. That I've given so much
you have
to.
prove you have to prove your qualifications.
Have to.
All right, this is actually kind of hard. Or is it? You know, I mean, that's the main question.
I don't think it's really hard at this point in time.
Really.
I think you've got a lot of options here, and
Well, I have a lot of options.
You should go with a baller show, like you keep saying that you're picking.
See, keep doing it, RJ. You got it.
Is that how it goes? Brian
Yeah.
just encourages me and
It's true.
discourages
It's
you.
true. He's literally like, okay, Meg, I don't know why that. He just like sits and waits when I do something, and he's like, interesting pick. Yeah, well, some people
that's
like
not-
that. It's got like 25 minutes of good stuff.
That's not
Look,
how we
I'm
want
just
anyone to feel.
making up for the fact that I had the Victor disc just brutally taken
No,
away
he's
from
never
me.
gotten over it. He's
Never.
I gave
I'm
it
just as
back to you,
bitter as it
Brian.
gets. I'm just as bitter as it gets.
I gave it back to you. We gave it back to you. Framed.
This is really this is really hard. I'm in a tough spot here, guys, because I'm between two
Are you?
categories and 3 shows in each category. So I need to just give me a second to kind of think this through.
Yeah.
What did I pick so far?
Brian, talk to me about, have you been
amazing.
able to follow your strategy in this draft so far, or have you been kind of throwing out the window now that I've made it so easy for you?
I honestly don't really have a well. I guess I kind of made the mistake early on, the same way I've done in past episodes, where I went after weaker categories. I think I feel really good right now because while there have unquestionably been great shows taken by both of you. You both have taken amazing shows. Meg's pick of 61894, 71314 is a brutally awesome pick. Really screws up that category for everyone. So I guess like my strategy going in was kind of like, let's just get a really great show and see where things unfold at that point in time. I feel pretty happy having 93 and 94 shows. I think I need a little bit of diversity here. But I think I know what I have to pick next. And then from there, if I don't get screwed in the next category I'm going to pick, I think I'm going to be just pretty happy with my overall list. Look, I'm just trying to amass a collection of shows that all of our listeners out there can check out and have a good time listening to before Phish goes on tour. That's my whole goal here, guys. I don't know what yours is, but I just want to give people a great collection of shows to listen to.
That's so
Yeah, you're
noble
so
of you.
generous.
Very
noble. It's a noble pursuit.
You
That's what we do here.
After all the time you put in, it's nice that you're still willing to give back.
I just want people to listen to Phish.
Despite being slandered, all the time on here. We just put up with it. All right, I'm ready. You guys ready?
Yeah, I can't wait to see where you're going.
Okay, I'm going to I guess this will be my first pick from the number 1 ranked tour of all time, according to the Helping Friendly podcast. Not according to fans. It was number 2 according to fans, but according to Team HF Pod, it was number 1.
God damn it.
Going to about an hour away from where we are right now, and I am going to pick 12195 from Hershey.
Yeah.
That's it.
This show is I mean, go ahead, Brian. I feel like you want to say something.
No, talk. Just I'm in disbelief.
All right. First of all, this kind of like 12297. It's like they come through this part of the country and they're fully locked in. I mean, the Foreman's Mockingbird, I think, is probably like the most I don't know. There's the chocolate stuff, there's all that, but I think you get to this 20-minute mics in the second set after a Haley's setup, which is like the Haley's setup to a huge mics directly into Weekapaug. That is 30 minutes of pure Fall 95 magic. And then you get the Bowie Catapult Bowie to close out the set. Amazing bookends. This is a great show, and live Phish release, and appropriately so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
show
between
rules.
that and Starlake. Show rules. It's awesome. Bowie, Catapult Bowie. Yes, please.
Show
Yep.
rules.
Yep.
Well done. Yeah, it's funny because when I built out this Western Pennsylvania category, I was like, if we like actually go geographically Western Pennsylvania, we limit ourselves. But if we just go basically non-Philly, we have shows like this that
Yeah.
absolutely rule.
But you did not. But Reading did not fall into Western PA in this geographical analysis.
Yeah, because Reading is very northeast, right? Isn't that?
Yeah.
Am
I mean, it's
wrong?
west of here, but I think it's appropriate given the geography of the whole state. Hershey is a little bit more central.
Yes. Yeah. Whew, that really screws things up. Okay. I'm not just like giving RJ praise because like he's another man on the podcast. It's literally like a show that I was like, okay,
Us
it's
men
still
gotta stick
hanging.
together.
No,
Still
it's
hanging.
it's such an amazing pick. It's so good.
It really is. That's the best non-jammed out Down with Disease ever played.
Yeah.
Like, if you just want to
Mhm.
know
Like
why is Trey Anastasio considered one of the greatest guitarists of all time, just listen to that. The riff he puts together in there. Oh my God. Oh my God. All right. RG, got anything else you need to say?
Nope. I'm good.
Nope.
I
He
could
just
use
lets the
another
picks
pick.
choose
I could use
itself.
another pick.
Yeah.
Well,
me
you know, you
too.
should pick different numbers, okay?
Yeah, good point. Really good point. Really
All
good
right.
point.
That's a
But
good point.
BT to boot makes a good point, which is that Hershey, it's not the show that Reprise chose for later this week. They're going to be playing in Lidditz, PA this Saturday. They're playing 8/14/96, which is Chris, the bass player's first ever Phish show. Also a great show.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Well, I can say now because Western PA has only one more pick in it, that I am between that show and a different show for Western PA. But I'm going to let Western PA hang out here.
Yeah.
Because I've got
You can
Yeah,
no
you
rush,
don't have
priorities
to now.
I
Yeah.
got Zero Rush there. I got Zero Rush in Ohio. I need to make sure I've got a great pick in Colorado and New York City.
Yeah.
So I am between. I think I'm going to get hammered by the fans out there if I don't take this show versus a different show in New York City.
Bad slippery
Yeah.
slope, Brian. You got to be careful.
This is a slippery slope.
This category is
Especially,
so weak, though. You got to do it.
got to do what?
Like you got to pick in this category, I think, quick because it's
I have to pick in this category. You're absolutely right. I can't let another
Yeah.
round go by here. But I don't know what to do. So I'm between two shows. Okay. Just going to put that out there right now. Between one show. God damn it. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
All right, let's pick something easier here while we hang out. And then I will come back.
I think
to,
don't you think there's one obvious choice in this category or no?
I don't know, because you may be thinking of an obvious choice that is going to win the sentiment of the fans, but that show is based around one single jam.
Fair.
I think there's another show that's awesome. Yeah.
There's
besides
another
that one.
show that is really good
Yeah.
that I attended, and I don't really want that to color things here until it absolutely has to. And then there's another show that I think has historical legacy and is really fun, and I don't think a lot of people go back to it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm
but that
between
show's
three
cool.
shows here. let's just switch it up here for a second. All right, we're just taking a deep breath. Everybody's okay. Everybody's okay.
Everything's fine, Brian.
You have 2 picks, right? Because you're
I
yeah,
I have 2 picks, so
on the
I'm
turn.
considering just adjusting and picking another show. But here's the thing: is I'm starting to wonder, am I too 1.0 heavy, guys? Like, do
You're
I
pretty
have too
1.0
many?
heavy.
Do I have
No.
too many
You-
1.0
You're
shows?
pretty
shows here?
1.0
Okay.
Can you
heavy.
ever?
Here's my quick take on this. Okay. First of all, they, as you mentioned, they haven't really played a lot in 3.0 and 4.0 in New Hampshire, Texas, and
Yeah.
kind of non-MSG New York. So like
Yeah.
you know, you don't have a ton of options in those categories. Like
No, you don't.
1.0 is, you know, skipped over a lot of Ohio in 3.0 and 4.0 also.
Yeah.
And if you take
Yeah, it's
dicks
true.
out of the equation, what is Colorado? It's like, you know, first trip with the
We're about
piano
to
in the
find out.
street, and then, you
Yeah.
know, like nothing. And a bunch of shit. Except for some Red Rocks. Some people love.
Some people love. All right. Perfect speller. This is why pro drafts have all the draft clock. You're right. Maybe we should start to implement that. That's not a bad
It's so
call.
true.
Maybe next time we should. That would be fun.
It's so true.
On the clock. Brian
But the
Brinkman on the
banter
clock.
is part of it. Brian Brinkman on the clock right now. All right. I am going to go. I feel like I'm under so much fucking pressure right now.
No, you got it, Brian. You got it.
Thanks, Meg. Appreciate it. I'm going to go to Colorado. Okay.
Damn it.
I just got to make sure I make the right pick in Colorado because there's a lot of wrong picks that a man can make.
Or a woman. Don't forget.
Or a woman. Women
I
can make wrong
know.
picks too. It's crazy.
I mean,
isn't
not
it?
on this podcast, but in some universe, I think.
No, I've definitely made some bad picks before. I've lost some drafts, guys.
Really?
Have you?
That must have been the ones that we missed.
Yeah.
It wasn't at those drafts. I feel like I'm giving in to the fans here. But I also feel like I may just be making a pick that people are gonna be like, huh? So I think I might switch back to New York. I don't know what to do.
I've never seen Brinkman like this. It's too good.
You gotta just go with your gut, man. I'm
Yeah,
telling
what you like. You know what you like.
You're right. That's a
You know-
good point.
You
That's
know
a
all
really
these shows, man. You know all these shows.
all right. Then I'm gonna go with a show that I may end up losing the draft to.
I'm ready.
Because as I'm thinking about this, no, this is awful. It's truly awful.
I've had moments like this on the draft, and they're really intense because you just feel like you know your draft is hanging in a choice or two. So I'm feeling for you.
Because I'm thinking about going with a show that like doesn't mean as much to me, but it does define a lot of who I am, and I don't know if that's the right way to go. I don't think that's the right way to go. So, all right, I got to make a pick, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
I just kind of have to. Yeah, you do.
You got it.
Well, I'm just saying, like technically speaking, that is kind of why we're here.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go with this was my number 2 pick in Colorado, so I'm gonna
There you go.
I'm gonna own up to it. This is really giving me a 93, 94 heavy dose for my draft here. But I think this is a show that no matter the era, you can listen to this show and absolutely love it. It is high quality. It's very type 1, but it's high quality Phish playing excellent songs, and it has an incredible version of Yem early in the show. I'm going to go 6/11, 1994 from Red Rocks. Somehow just a week before the UIC show that Meg picked, because they traveled across the country and then played Chicago. But it was like on the radio and just a fantastic show. And yeah, it's 31 years ago today. My goodness.
Oh my God.
Envisioning
That's
Brian at a
crazy.
restaurant with an extensive menu. This is why I have 2 options at a diner. Okay. 2 options. One is a bacon cheddar omelet with well done hash browns and an English muffin. And 2 is a club sandwich with no tomatoes and French fries and Yeah,
Wow.
that's it. That's it.
Wow.
That's why, because if you go to
Too
one of
many
those restaurants
choices?
with like 18 pages, like you're just screwed. I don't know maybe I actually feel like the salad today.
Oh,
Maybe,
it's so
but
stressful.
it's the worst.
You know what I love though, Brian, about this is that all these people who think they can predict what we're going to talk about, Brian's diner order is nowhere on the bingo card. So
Yeah.
we've confused them
So
again.
true. We've gotten them again.
We
Well
got
done,
them again.
Brian.
I'd love to go to a diner with all of you. It's one of my favorite things in the world.
You know, I love
Okay.
diners,
That'd
Brian.
be
I
so
go
fun.
like every
I love
weekend.
diners too. Diner coffee is like my favorite thing ever. I don't know why it tastes so good when
Let's
it's
talk
so
more
bad.
about ordering when we have more time. Because I'd like to talk strategy.
You know what I always want to get when I go to a diner? I always
let's
want
talk
to get
about it now.
pancakes. And I don't always get them, but I just
Yeah.
always am like, fuck, I want pancakes. Like when you're at a diner, like pancakes sound so good.
My
Yeah, well,
kids
that's why
always get pancakes, so I always
That's-
have them no matter what.
And then you get to have, sometimes I'll just get one pancake. You know how they'll let you have the one?
Yes,
Like a
you
side
get
of one
that.
pancake?
You get
That's what I
that for
get.
the table. You get that for the
Yes.
table.
And then yeah, it's so good. I love a pancake at a diner. Great show, Brian. I love this Red Rock show. It's
Thanks, Meg.
perfect summer 94 goodness.
You know, we could really do a Seinfeld thing. Three of us.
We could. Really could.
We need a Kramer, but I feel like we kind of like.
I can do the
we
Elaine
have to
dance
rest.
too. I can do the Elaine dance.
I want to see it.
I
For
think this
sure.
is actually something we need.
The
Okay.
Fish
We can make
Seinfeld
promo. We can make
skit
Fish.
on
Yeah.
John
Make a pro-
Mulaney's
it's a pod-
show is
Oh
one
my
of my
God,
favorite things
hilarious.
that's happened recently.
Really good.
Yeah.
And now
Brian,
we got
good-
our listeners
Brian,
sharing
good
their
pick.
diner picks. Thanks,
Yeah.
RJ.
Good pick.
You guys should all share your diner picks in the chat. We'll post them. VT to boots. 4 scrambled, 3 with French toast was putting some weight on me. I mean, that happens. I get that. I did that. Get that.
Holla
Diner
French toast.
BLTs, rock 2.
Hell yeah.
Hollow
Love
French
BLT.
toast.
Challah French toast. So good.
All right, so I got to go to New York City
right.
now, and I think I know now I need to diversify myself a little bit. So I am still between 2 shows, which is not what you guys wanted to hear. And I think I'm going to go with a deeply personal pick. I am going to go to the summer of 2014. If you can't be the bride, go ahead and be the bridesmaid. 7/13/14 is unquestionably the best show of the Randall's Island run. But I did not go to 7/13/14. I went to the middle show on that run. Saturday night.
Oh
The
my
Saturday
God, we
night
missed
special.
each other by
in
one
New York.
night.
Yeah, we did. By one night. This was I went on legitimate tour with Phish on the road for multiple weeks, twice in my life. One was in the summer of 2010, and the other was the summer of 2014. Many people would say, well, why didn't you pick a better tour to go on Phish tour with Phish with? Well, that's just not how it works, guys. That's just not
Ryan,
how life works.
I understand. I went to Europe in 1996, so you don't have to tell me. People, we just do what we can. We do what we can.
Some people go to Phish Europe Tour in 96, and some people go to Goose Europe Tour in 2023. It never works out for everyone. But so
mean.
someone said I was
true,
being too nice. It is true. So I'm going to go with 7/12/14. Is this the best New York show? That is really up to your determination. I had 2 other shows I was considering picking for this category. I think that one of them will ultimately get picked, and probably rightly so, because that one jam is quite popular and quite good. But here's my defense for 7/12/14. First set is pretty standard, but there were a lot of very standard first sets in 2014. I always found the song selection for a standard set to still be fun and a little bit fresh. Cool 46 Days in the second slot. My Sweet One, middle of the set, Back on the Train with false endings that happened. I'm a fan of Halfway to the Moon. Sue Me. I like a song I heard the ocean sing. I am probably the only person other than Stephen Hyden in this world still defending The Line. I think that the end of that song, the Coda Jam, is really good. If they just reworked the tempo of the song going into it, I think people would enjoy it a little bit more. That Coda Jam is amazing. And then the second set is really good. Very flowy. Punch, Carini that gets really weird and dissonant. Ghost, that is an awesome jam. Wingsuit Rock and Roll. And then that summer they were playing a ton of Type 2 Weird Harry Hoods, and we close out the show with that. And then finally we get a tube and a first tube within the encore, plus a ballad that people love. So I dug this show. I was then with friends at a barbecue on 7/13 with my buddy John McGar, and we threw on the Mixler stream when everyone dispersed. And we were like, what the hell music are they playing right now? And we looked it up. Oh my God, we're 20 minutes into a Chalkdust Torture. We went to the wrong show. But I still had a good time. It's still a really fun show. And Perp loves the line too. We're on the same page here. This is why I lose drafts, because I love the line.
That's yeah. I mean, man, who doesn't love the line?
A lot of people.
A lot of people.
I think it's one of the most unanimously disliked Phish songs out there.
Poor people.
Yes.
Okay.
RJ's up.
Yeah.
Sorry for spending 20 minutes trying to deliberate between two categories there.
It's okay. You
It
know,
happens. That's what the draft is
happens.
about, you know?
It does happen.
So,
Okay.
seriously,
So
though, you got to go faster.
pressure's off me for non-MSG because I can choose whatever I want. You know what's great about that? I can choose their first show ever at the Ukrainian house or whatever, and you know it'll be fine because
Exactly.
the rest of the shows are gone. Okay. Well, sorry, Brian. Sorry for scrolling around on that. Should have been over here. I think I
Man,
might
so
just
many
go. I think I might just go with this because I think this is going to be the best route, even though I'm not sure it's the best show in this category left, but I think it's. I do think
Incredible Perp supporting me with "I love the line," but then saying "I love Jennifer Dances too." So
there you go. All right, I'm between
so good.
I'm between two shows in this category, and I assume that Brian will pick the other one.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with Future Rushmore. I'm just gonna call it now. Future Rushmore nominee. You know where I'm going, Brian? With Future Rushmore here.
I have an
Use that,
idea.
Megan?
Well, actually, no, I don't know where you're going now.
Okay. All right. Well,
no, I don't.
This might be the wrong pick, but I'm just going to do it because I've already started and now I can't go back, which is I'm going to go in the Chicago category. I'm going to go with Future Rushmore. This is going to be carved into Mount Rushmore, this AC/DC bag from 11/7/98.
Good call.
And I don't know who's picking AC/DC bag, but if it's me, then it will be. I want to get something from this tour on there. I do think that this fall tour is, I don't know. There's something like kind of weird about this fall tour still to me. I don't know where we landed with on our top 25 tours, but
it definitely made it. But I think we all were like,
yeah, it's like a little up and down.
Yeah.
Even this 3-show run is a little up and down. But this show, 4-song second set, AC/DC, Ghost, Reba, Farmhouse Closer, fucking awesome. Sorry for the swear here, but there's also a Mike's groove in the first set that basically takes up the entire first set. They open with My Soul for some reason, and then Mike's, Driver, Brian and Robert, Wedge, Limb by Limb, Ficus, Billy Breeze, Beauty of My Dreams, and then close the set with Week of Bog. This is like peak 98 energy, and this AC/DC bag, 21 or so minutes, is I think one of the best jams of that year, and maybe of all time. So the way that they were able to like combine the kind of like upbeat rhythmic stuff from the fall 97 into summer 98, and then like building into that ambient space like they started to get to later in 98, I think is perfectly represented here. It's also a really great Farmhouse to close the second set. So that's what I'm doing.
I've got the AC/DC bag, Mount Rushmore, and I will just.
Nice.
I've already picked everything because I'm prepared in
Months
advance.
ahead.
Good for you.
I think we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens.
Not everything can be right.
Just wait till you listen through the AC/DC bag list. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, there's a lot. I just hope the Boise one doesn't make it on there because then we'll have to bring up all that stuff from the past, and that'll be awkward. All right, Megan's got 2 picks.
Oh, I really don't know what to do. I'm trying to decide if I want to like make my list have a wider range, or if it doesn't matter, if I should just pick what I think is the best shows. I'm also feeling like super not into going to the week categories. I'm kind of over that. That gets kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
It just gets kind of like,
But eventually you have to go there.
yeah, you have to go there, but I don't really think I'm going to go there right now. I think, all right, I think I'm going to Philly. And I think, even though this is close to another show I have on my list, I think I'm still going to pick December 3rd, 1997 from the Spectrum, because the show rocks, and the masterpiece, the funk masterpiece in Drowned is so good. And the gumbo that goes type 2 in the first set. In the second set, you've got a 26-minute long Bowie that goes into Possum, which is just a huge funk jam, into Caspian, into Frankenstein, into Hood. It's good stuff.
It's an amazing Bowie.
Yeah.
That is not the show I thought you were going to pick in Philadelphia.
Really? What did
Nope.
you think I was going to pick?
I don't know. I might pick it.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter now because we both picked.
I was torn between two. You're probably going to pick the other one, and I'll probably be sad. But yeah.
We'll have to determine it once I pick.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Brian, you could
That's a
tell
good
us. You could tell us any of the 5 that you're thinking about, because neither of us can pick. I'm just.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
But we can do that when you get there. We got to go. We have to go. We got to keep it moving. I'm looking out for Brian's children's well-being.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Meg's got another pick.
I'm thinking, but it's like stressful, and some of you guys took a while, so it feels unfair to be totally rushed. Okay, I have to pick.
If you timed
RJ,
my picks,
you actually
they were
have not
definitely the
made me. Okay, I don't have to do Colorado because that's already been. There's nothing, like, I get to choose whatever I want there. Okay, let's see. Maybe I'll go. This category is so. South Carolina is pretty weak. I hope they play some really good shows there this year, because this category is, I don't know.
There's one show that was included in the list here as a 4-star show that I want to sit down with anyone who rated this show 4 stars, because I had to include it based on the rules. But man,
what show is that?
I'll tell you after you pick.
I'm probably gonna pick it, and then
well, it would be funny if you did.
Too.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to see what I have to pick still. Okay, I need 1 minute. You guys have to talk for 1 minute.
Brian, how many more games do we have left in the baseball season here? I mean, not MLB, in the kids' baseball season.
We have 3. Tonight is a makeup game, and it's starting to rain outside. So I'm waiting for the text message that it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Which means I would have to message parents while drafting. That would be fun. And then we got a game on Saturday, which I will unfortunately be missing because I am going fishing in Montana.
Nice.
Off the grid, which I think is probably a good day to be off the grid, it seems like. And then we got one next Tuesday. So we're almost there. It's been a long and rewarding season. Got such great kids, man. Just such great kids. Meg, do you know what you want now?
I'm ready. Thank you. I'm not really into going to South Carolina right now. I'm going to go to New Hampshire. And I don't know what people are going to think about this pick, but the show to me is really significant. It's the first show of Spring Tour and our top 24 tour of all time. There's so many debuts at the show. They debut Maze, My Friend, Mound, NICU, Sleeping Monkey, the new version of Rift. And they have the secret language instructions in the show. We've got a 1994 Reba, which you know what those are like. I'm going with March 6th, 1992 from Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
It's a great call. That was my number 3 pick in that category.
Nice.
It's a great call. It's a fun show. It's a really fun show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good show. That's
a good show.
Awesome.
That's
Spring
all
92
these.
rules.
Yeah, Spring 92 rules, and it's super important to the band. And looking back at all these shows from New Hampshire, they played there so much in the early years. And so I think it's really nice to have something on your list from the early years that kind of puts a stake down that this is when this was a really important venue for this band, a really important region market.
Was.
Aw,
Yeah,
You know,
it's kind of sad.
I know.
All right.
That's good. Good pick. Good pick.
Thanks.
That's a good pick. Good pick. RJ, you're up.
All right. I think I'll just do this because I think it's gonna maybe fuck everyone else up, which is good, but also probably the best show in this category. I'll just do a quick intro. You guys know how I feel about Summer 04.
I know
You
where
how
you're
I feel about
going.
Summer 04.
Yeah, me too.
Not
That's
great.
a good one.
Not great. Real sloppy. I've been in a camper forced to listen to that Boogie on Reggae Woman from Alpine more than once with mutual friends of ours trying to convince me as if I've never listened to it before. There's some they find some spaces. This show they found the space. I think this is probably the best show of that tour. In fact, one of the jams has its own brand. It's called the Spac Piper. So I'm just going to go with 61904 from Spac. I think this has multiple, good jams. The Wolfman's is really good. The song I heard the Oceans sing into Piper is great, but the Piper itself is a Rushmore candidate to say the least.
Mhm.
But this five song second set really good. Maybe the last good show of 2.0.
I don't know about that, but
Yeah,
it's a great, it's a
have feelings
very,
about
very
that.
good show. And I remember when this show happened and the internet lost its mind and we're like, we're going to have the greatest closeout tour ever. And it was like, everyone was just like pushing aside the slop and we're just like the yams.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Piper is incredible. But please, Brian, don't give me 61910. Will you give me 61904 instead?
Oh my God. Sorry. I was
God.
at 61910. That is the show that nothing has filled me with more anxiety than that show because we waited for my wife's former friend, no longer friend. Is it because of the show? Maybe, maybe not. Who took her sweet time getting to the show and we waited outside because the Spac Lawn's insane. And I heard the Tweezer Reprise opening from outside of the show. And I said, I will never ever again listen. I will never ever again do this.
It's not okay.
Brian, you have 2 picks. I never get 2 picks. That's part of the thing that's really unfair about this draft so far.
It's deeply unfair. We've got
So
bloody
unfair.
noses in the house. We've got baseball coming up. All right, I got 2 picks. There's one category here that still has one remaining or only has one pick in it. The SPAC show, the SPAC category, if you will. I'm going to go with one of my favorite shows of all time. And I think this is going to put a stamp in the 1.0 heavy picks for me. I'm going 626, 1995. Should we do a set list read, RJ? I think we should probably do a set list read. Why don't we?
Well,
just
given
do
that we're
quick-
running out of time, I think it's a perfect time for a set list read.
Right, time for a set list read.
Exactly.
I'll spare you all the first set because everyone knows this. It's a great first set. Awesome possum to end things out. I'm always a fan of the Dog Face Boy, but the second set, disease free, that just sums it up. And then on top of it, you're going to give us a "You Enjoy Myself" and then a "Run Like an Antelope" to close things out. I'm very happy with this selection. This was my number 1 pick in the SPAC
Ooh.
category, so I'm going to go with 626, 1995. All right, where do I go next? Everything else is pretty easy for me here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more picks. Okay. I am going to go to Ohio. Should we do Ohio?
Let's do it.
Let's do Ohio. My number 1 pick is still available. So I'm going to start to diversify things here. I've got a lot of 1.0 shows, plus I've got a 3.0 show. We should go late 1.0, guys. Does that sound good to you? We're going to go late 1.0. An incredibly fluid 5-song second set, 7/23, 1999. The Die, Ghost into Free, and then Amazing Birds. Really, really happy with that.
I love that show. Thunderstorm.
Was that show?
Birds
Loved
of
it.
a Feather. Mm-hmm. That Killer
Was that all
Free.
these shows? Just as a heads up.
Amazing, really cool, really languid first set. Polaris 99, and then we went to Alpine Valley after this, and then we went to Noblesville, Indiana for one of the best shows ever that Kevin Shapiro ignores constantly. But this is what starts it. It's 7. It's an amazing show. So 7/23/99.
Nice.
Nice. I like that pick.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate all the support, and that closes out the Ohio category here. Ohio is off the map.
It is off the map. It's off the political map for good.
Yeah, I don't think that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Okay. This not getting 2 picks thing is really making me feel left out, guys, because it's just not a lot I can do here. But I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm not sure that this is the right pick, but I only have one other contested category, I think. Is that right? I think I know what I'm going to do there because it's kind of fun. And the real heads will get it. So I'll wait on that. All right. I think I'm going to do this. This is not going to be popular. But I think I'm going to do it anyway.
Do it.
Do it.
I'm going to go with the second to... No, actually, I'm not going to do that.
See, sometimes this happens. This is what I felt. I get it.
Okay, yeah, actually, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take some heat, I think, in the votes. But let's be honest, I was going to take some heat in the votes anyway. I'm going to go to South Carolina. I'm going to go with 12/7/19 in South Carolina.
Interesting pick.
It's a very, very, very good show, and I think this run is like not very good. This is the middle show, and I don't think people go back to it very much. But the second set, you have Mr. Completely into Cross-Eyed, and then you have an actual jammed out Cool Amber and Mercury, beyond sort of what it typically does, into Melt, back into Cross-Eyed, back into Melt. It's a really good second set. I think this show is really good. And
I was at that show.
You were?
Yeah, I flew down to see my North Carolina friends, and it was the one good show out of that run. And I was so glad that I nailed it. But it was super fun. I was in the lot before, and everyone's like, what do people want to hear? What do I want to hear? And I was like, I want to hear Fluffhead. And then they opened with it, and all my friends freaked out. And it was really fun because that's a GA venue. And so we were all waiting to get in. And my friend had some chocolate that someone had given her that my friend had made to have some fun during the show. And she put it inside of her bra when we were going in, and it melted all over, and it was hilarious. So when we were waiting to go in,
awesome. We
were all just dying laughing. But yeah, and then we ran in and saved all these seats and had a killer spot right above Paige, and he played that Frankenstein with it was guitar. It was really fun show. It's
interesting.
I really like listening to it. Interesting. Brian says.
Maybe I'm just making up for a past mistake, but I like 12/6 the most. And what is the past mistake?
Really?
I almost went and saw Goose play that night at Cervantes, and I checked the ticketing sites, and the tickets were $45, and I was like, I don't think Goose is a $45 band, and so I stayed home and webcasted 12/6/90 or 12/6/19, which has a great Sense and Subtle Sounds and a great Limb by Limb. And now I pay like $150 to see Goose because that's just that's their market now. So this is an interesting show. I don't know if I would have picked this in this category, but it's an interesting pick.
I knew it'd get some heat, but we gotta go. We gotta pick our
really hard. Charleston's tough, or South Carolina's tough.
Yeah, South Carolina's tough. Yeah, I've avoided it. Is it my turn?
Meg, what do you got?
Yeah,
it's your turn.
Okay.
You got 2 picks because of snake draft.
Okay, right. Yeah. I'm gonna go to Texas, and Yeah, I don't know if people like this show as much as me, but I love this show. I'm going to Dallas. I'm going to July 25th, 1997, because summer 97 is my vibe. One of my favorite runs of shows. I didn't see this show, but just summer 95, I saw summer 97, I saw 3 shows in a row, and it was just one of the best 3 show runs I've ever done outside of like a New Year's Eve run at MSG. I think this show's undervalued. Obviously, this year's packed with shows, but the show is great. And there's a sit-in that actually works. And I think the show has a lot of strengths outside of the sit-in too. First set is great. You've got a funk jam and the Wolfmans into a super hot maze, almost a 22-minute type 1 gin Makasupa jam that goes into AC/DC bag that's super intense and stretched out. And then we've got a monster second set too. Obviously, that chalk dust is super explosive with Gulati. We've got Bob Gulati sitting in on drums. And this is just one of the first chalk dusts to really go big. It's longest to date, 16 minutes. We've got this taste and then this Yamar segue during the taste peak and that big drum solo after Yamar into Ghost. And then that really just like sets the tone for where funk's going to be in the 90s and the late 90s, excuse me. And I love this show.
So my number 2 pick in Texas, this is the right call. Well done, Meg. Way to find an undervalued pick. This is killer stuff. Well done.
Such a good show.
Perfect Speller asks, I missed the beginning of the show. Is RJ going to the Phillies game after the show? No, it's funny, Perfect Speller. The reason we're in such a rush right now is that we have other responsibilities, and RJ went to the Phillies game before the show.
Yeah,
all
right.
Did.
It's true.
Okay, so I have another pick, and all the categories are already like full already. So that means I just get to pick anything I want. And I'm going to pick something that I really like that pushes up against something that RJ said earlier. He claimed that 6/19/04 was the last great show, 2.0. And I have a challenge because this show from June 20th, 04 at SPAC is awesome too. We've got this huge drowned jam in the first set. We've got a Waves that's great in the first set, 4-song second set, 7 Below jams into Ghost, segues beautifully into an awesome twist jam that fades into Yem. It's a great show. And it's good to have some 2.0 on your list for all you like heady 2.0 fans.
This is the right pick in SPAC 04. 619 gets all the praise because of the Piper. Rightly so. Great Piper. But this second set is the second set that inspired Mike and Trey while walking off the stage to say, hey, maybe we should break up.
See?
A twist.
Heady.
That twist is unbelievable. And it
Worked
goes
great.
quiet and then it comes back with like that adjusted up and down. Oh my God.
And you know, I fell in love with 2.0 during our
you did.
top 25 tours thing. And when I hear it now, I'm just super into it.
I'm really into everyone 25 years later being like, hey, maybe that wasn't that bad of a period in time.
Exactly.
I'm just glad they finally didn't break up after that jam. That's great.
Yeah,
Worked out.
I'm sure
It didn't actually work.
All right. RJ has got a pick in New York City.
Yep.
Or Texas or New Hampshire.
Yeah.
RJ's got 3
this is
picks
hard.
left here.
Yeah, you're into some.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a couple obvious choices. I don't know that I want to do them.
There's somewhere great in New Hampshire, I think. There's some good stuff.
Yeah. I think that maybe when I was at the Phillies game today, I was talking to a guy who was talking about this show, and maybe I'll just pick it because
What?
we just had a conversation about it. All right. Here's what I'm going to say about the show. For those of you who are going to listen to the entire episode and listen to all of our reasoning before you vote for the winner, because that's obviously how most people vote in this draft and in general in life. Okay, I'm going to go with 4/15/94 from New York City, the Beacon Theater. I think the argument for this show is, well, first of all, it's a great show. Carl Gerhardt has told the story about trying to like get into the venue. Like the horns were a surprise
Yeah.
and he couldn't get in the venue. And that's a funny story. But I also think this is what put Phish like really on the map in New York City. You know, it
Mhm.
wasn't that long after this. They played at MSG, obviously. But up until this point, you know, they're kind of playing smaller venues. And then this 3-night run at the Beacon was, you know, put them on the map. And I was talking to this guy who was there, and he was like, it was a huge deal. Like everyone was trying to get tickets. And I don't know, there's something special about it. Also, Scotty B, our friend Scotty B, his first show. I think it's a great,
Wow.
like,
That's awesome.
kind of turning point for them in New York City. So I'm gonna go with that.
It's a good call.
Yeah,
That is
cool.
a
I like
really
that
good
pick.
call. That was my number 2 pick in New York City. Why did I go with my number 3 pick? I got cold feet. But you made
It happens
made-
sometimes. I
you
did
made
it.
a really
I
good
did it
argument
once
here.
too.
Thanks, Brian.
It's good stuff, RJ. Really good stuff.
Thanks,
I just
Brian.
got to
Thanks
keep
so
buttering you up,
much.
making sure that you're doing okay. All right. Okay. So I got 3 picks left, so I'm gonna make 2 right now. And I think I'm going to, yep, I know what I'm going to do. So I got Western Pennsylvania, and I don't have any 2.0 shows, so I might as well throw the best jam from 2.0. Thank God I got it here. 72903 Burgettstown,
Yeah.
PA.
I love this show.
This is the iPod show. Phish played a not so good show 2 nights earlier in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hey guys, let's be a quartet. Let's be a quartet, Fishman would say. And on the way up to Western Pennsylvania, before they headed off to Camden and then to it, they got iPods with a bunch of old songs on them. And they shuffled them and they played an entire first set, sans one song of debuts, plus huge bust outs. Daniel Saw the Stone, first in 287 shows. We got in the second set, Harpua, first since November 2nd, 98. We got the Cross-Eyed and Painless, which is the best jam of 2.0. There is not a single wrong note that Trey plays in that entire jam. It goes through so many segments. I love it so much. Every time I listen to it, I hear something new. And then they go into my favorite long lost ballad, Thunderhead. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Harpua, again, great. Brother, great, rare song. And then a Killer Bowie to close out the set. Very, very overlooked. And then a single song, Farmhouse Encore. I love this show a lot. I remember watching this show appear on the Fantasy Tour forum and being like, wow, I saw them 10 days ago and I didn't see anything like that. It was a great lesson.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. All right. So Western PA, Burgettstown. I'm so glad I got that, Meg. Thank you for not stealing that show from me.
Yeah,
I
that
got
was what I was in
really,
between. I was in
really
between those
nervous when you
two.
started talking about 811. 98, and then you picked that. So now I've got 2 cities, 2 great cities that just battled each other, and may see each other again in October. And I got to figure out what I'm going to do here. I think I'm going to go, it doesn't really matter because everyone's got something here. I'm going to go with the UIC Pavilion again, and I'm going to give myself one more 3.0 show here, which
Oh, wow.
is 8/15
Wow.
2011.
Wow.
This is the Element Show.
Yeah.
For those of you,
Yeah, that's a cool show.
it's a very cool show, especially for the tour. August 2011 is pretty underrated. I would highly recommend people check it out if they haven't listened to it in some time. Great first set, ripping back on the train, Killer Gula, awesome Son of a Mule. Am I right, RJ? Great Wolfman's, Killer Reba, alumni letter, Jimmy Page, alumni Trey says that big green ball just came up to the stage one too many times, man. And then the second set, Sand, Light, Dirt, Waves, Undermine, Steam, Fire. The Waves and Undermine is phenomenal stuff. And then a 4-5 song encore with a great Harry Hood to close things out. Just a great show. I'm really happy with the selection. Closes out Chicago strong here. RJ,
Yeah, that was my
what you
number
got?
2 pick in that category. Yeah, I love that. It starts those 3 great shows that summer. It's good stuff.
It's my number 2. Was my number 2 in Chicago as well. Sometimes you got to get your number 2. All right,
That's
RJ,
not
what do you
bad, I
got?
feel like.
I can't believe we left 1125.94 on the table, to be honest.
That
I
was my
can.
number 3.
My top 3 are on the list here.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Okay.
good.
I mean, it's all, it's good. I'm glad. I'm happy for you. I'm
Just
happy
glad
for
none of
everybody.
you guys picked Wrigley 2016 because my God.
Oh, no one would do that. Okay. So we have, I guess I'm just going to go with, I'll go here. I'm going to go with New Hampshire. I'm going to go with Live Phish 19. One of the highlights of the Horns tour from 1991, 7/12/91 from the Colonial Theater in Keene. I mean, I think this tour, obviously, like there's a lot of reasons why this is important, but they played at the Colonial Theater in Keene, I think maybe 5 times or 6 or 7 times between 90 and 91. They kept coming through here, but this 7/12/91 show, I think, is one of the highlights of the Horns tour. I don't know. There's nothing else you can say about it. It's awesome. The Horns tour is awesome. They should do it more. And I'm glad to have it represented on my list. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Yeah,
Great
that's my number 2
representation of
pick.
the Horn Tour.
Yeah,
That's a good call.
great.
That's a good call. That is a good call. All right,
I
Meg's
went with
got
my
2
third
more
in that
picks.
category. I got 2 more picks, and then I'm closing
You
it
went with
out,
your
right?
third. Oh my God.
I went with my third, but it was one of those moments where I didn't know, but the Keene show was my second, and then I changed my mind. I don't know.
We'll see if that
Maybe I just
impacts
wasn't feeling
you
the Horns.
overall. We'll see what happens here.
I think it will. Okay, I'm
RJ's
going
got
to
2
pull
horn
that out.
shows. I don't know
Yeah,
if that should be held
exactly.
against him or
Sure.
not.
It should be,
Yeah,
it should
maybe.
probably, yeah. I mean, it goes along with my strategy of drafting only amazing shows.
Well, speaking of amazing shows, I would like to draft the show that was the band's debut at Red Rocks. This is the first time they ever played there, and there was a big storm. And right before the band came on, the sky cleared, and they played Divided Sky. First time they ever set foot on the Red Rocks stage. And I have heard of Divided Sky at Red Rocks the next year, and it is pretty phenomenal. And then they go into Harpua. And they tell the history of Red Rocks, talk about the giant iguana. You've got the It's Ice into Wedge that's featured on Live Bait 6, Jammed Out Antelope, beautiful, interesting Slave early in set 2, and a really great split open mouth to follow. You've got Fishman's Mom on Vacuum. The show was a high point for the band. It's playful, it's tight, it's flawless Phish. 1993, August 20th from Red Rocks.
You only get one debut show at Red Rocks. You got to make the most of it. You cannot tell your fans when you come out on stage that it's going to be the greatest night of their life and then not play something on par with 820 1993. Phish still supreme there.
Agreed.
What do you got? You got one more pick.
I have one more pick. Okay. And I'm going to South Carolina now. Is this true?
This is true.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by what you're going to do here.
Yeah, I don't really, I mean, this category to me is like, I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna do it because this show it's okay. No, I'm going somewhere else. Okay, I'm going to Charleston. I am going to November 18th, 1995.
That's the one.
It's a show from our number 1 tour of all time.
Yep.
Has a great Slave with multiple peaks, a 30-minute yam. It's got the Brick House Jam. Then it gets super deep. This is all you have to say is it's the number 1 tour of all time. Fall 95.
Number 1 tour of all time.
Had to have it on my list.
That was my number 2 pick in South Carolina. That is a great call there.
Okay.
Actually, that was my number 1 pick, and I went with my number 2. Now that I just looked back,
really,
great
Isn't that
stuff.
so weird.
Good job.
That was actually like my number 4, and then I was like, what am I thinking? Okay, so
what were you going to do originally?
Well, I was torn between the 2010 show from Charleston because it has that like cross-eyed, that open set 2, that big jam, and it's like a 2010 set list, so it doesn't really work, but it kind of works this show. It's got that great 2001 fun 3-song encore, but I think the 95 show is better.
Yeah, that 2010 show, Night 2 at Charleston, blew some people's minds online. It would not do so today, but it did. There are receipts. All right, RJ, you got your last pick here, and you got to make it. You got to go to Texas. I know you don't want to play Texas Hold'em,
You
but you
gotta
got to go to
go.
Texas.
Also from the #1 ranked tour of all time, according to the fans of HF Pod. This is some people are going to get it and some people aren't. And if you don't get it, then I think you need to go listen to this show maybe for the first time. I'm going with 10/14/95. I've told you guys before that before I even got into Phish, I was a huge fan of Medeski, Martin and Wood. I still am. This is like if you want to hear 30 minutes, like kind of surrender to the air preview of Phish playing free jazz with like 3 of the greatest musicians of all time. This is for you. But the set opens with a Reba that is really, really amazing. But this 30-minute You Enjoy Myself with Medeski, Martin and Wood is one of my favorite things I've ever heard. I remember getting the tape and just being like blown away that these guys were all playing together because I didn't know much at the time. And yeah, I think this is awesome. I think this is a hugely underrated like sit-in jam that kind of led to a lot more that Phish and traded in the future.
100%
It's
agree.
amazing. I remember hearing this tape and totally being blown away too.
It's an amazing show, an amazing jam, and God, why don't we have more Medeski, Martin and Wood shows? Why isn't Nugs.net filled with Medeski, Martin and Wood shows? Why isn't there a Listen app filled with Medeski, Martin and Wood shows? One of my favorite concerts of all time was Medeski, Martin and Wood, late night, Bonnaroo 2003. They played from midnight till 5 o'clock in the morning, and I would relive that experience so many times if I could. Amazing stuff.
That's amazing.
All right, I got to close this out because we all got to go and do things. And I am getting private chats from RJ that are more and more all caps, and more and more
sorry.
just staggered sentences, just like end the show. All right, so I think I'm making the right call here. However, I am thinking this is doing some weird stuff to my overall list of shows. Partially don't care because the show rules, and it's backed up by one of the greatest Phish fans and one of the greatest Phish tapers of all time, Mr. Craig Hilwig. RJ, I think you see him regularly, so you can pass along that message if you will. The man knows a cast iron skillet more than pretty much anyone. We're in agreement that this is one of the best sounding and one of the best performed Phish shows of all time, regardless of the era. I'm going 8, 12, 15. The Man Music Theater in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This show rules. I love it so much. First set is nothing like crazy, but a really nice little cities. Another performance of the line. I'm just picking all shows with the line in it. But really the magic of this show is the second set. Not a single, one slight fade, but no segues, no need for them. Why would you when you play this well? Gin, man, that riff Trey finds in that gin, you don't ever need to go type 2 if you find that riff. No Man in No Man's Land, I would argue that this is the best type 1 version of No Man in No Man's Land ever played. The Man Twist, really cool jam, some awesome stuff. It's a little basic jamming 10 years later, but at the time this was just an amazing performance and really just pushed the band forward as they moved to Merriweather and then to Magnaball. Incredible Sense and Subtle Sounds with the intro for the first time in a while, and then a beautiful Harry Hood to close things out. It's just amazing stuff. I'm so here for this set. I'm very much here for summer 2015. I almost picked one of the Man shows from summer 95, and I ultimately went with this because of the power of the second set. So all right, we're gonna close this out. My picks: New Hampshire, I got 5/8/93. Western PA, I got 7/29/03. Texas, I got 5/7/94. Colorado non-Dix, I got 6/11/94. Ohio, I got 7/23/99. South Carolina, I got 10/29/94. Philly, I got 8/12/15. Chicago, I got 8/15/11. NYC non-MSG, I got 7/12/14. And SPAC, I got 6/26/95. RJ, what'd you get?
Oh, me? Thanks for asking. I got 7-12-91 in New Hampshire, 12-1-95 in Western PA, 10-14-95 with Medeski Martin Wood in Texas, 11-17-97 from Colorado. If you haven't listened to that one, you definitely should. 6-22-94 in Ohio, 12-7-19 in South Carolina, 12-2-97 in Philly, 11-7-98 Chicago, 4-15-94 NYC, and 6-19-04 Spec.
Meg, what do you got?
I've got in New Hampshire, March 6th, 1992. In PA, 8-11-98. In Texas, I've got 7-25-97. Colorado, non-Dix, I've got 8-20-93. Ohio, 12-7-97. South Carolina, 11-18-95. In Philly, I've got 12-3-97. Chicago, 6-18-94. New York City, 7-13-14. And SPAC, I've got 6-20-04. Feel good about my list.
I love my list. I'm very happy with it. I like how you tried to one up RJ as though you were gambling and picked 2 shows, just one above him. That's a nice move. I'm happy with this. You got 30 shows here, guys, that if you're like, hey, what does Phish sound like in X venue or X region, go ahead, throw one of these on. We're going to throw this online. One of you guys are, because I'm not touching that space. And we'll see who wins the draft. I think we're all winners. I think we all picked good shows. I think it's hilarious that 12-11-99 did not get drafted, because I had like predictions in mind. Yeah, I knew you were.
I was really between that one. Yeah, I love that show.
Oof. Jason is still quoting 6:22:94 2 hours later. Well done. That's a sign that RJ made a good pick.
All right, guys. We are going to put this all at osirispod.com/draft. By the time you hear this, the voting will be up there along with our picks. So look out for that. And these guys will be back, I think, next week.
Got a lot of shows coming up. RJ's going to Europe. He's going to have a siesta, and he's going to drink wine at 1:00 in the afternoon in a courtyard in a cafe with like 80,000 seats in front of it. I'm very jealous. You're going to see some churches, I'm sure. You're going to see some nice mountains.
Churches for sure.
We're going to miss you, RJ. It's going to be so weird without you. We're going to miss you. But I hope you have a great vacation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Be safe.
All right.
Be well.
These guys will be back, though. Don't forget, guys. HF Pod's not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere. We're hanging here. We're hanging here. Just like summer 2021. I can hold down the fort. I got this.
Got this. See you guys next week.
See you guys.
Bye, everyone.